published 0604 Est, the 5th of December 2017, updated 1859 Est, the 5th of December 2017. A thrilling second test was balanced on a knife's edge here at the end of a compelling fourth day, where England finally stood up and showed Australia that they might not be so easy to beat in these Ashes after all. England, on 176 for 4, need another 178 on Wednesday with 6 wickets in hand to reach an historic 354 and pull off what would be one of the greatest and most unlikeliest victories in the history. And at the centre of their chase is a captain in Joe Root, who has the perfect opportunity to prove that he truly does belong in the highest company by reaching the three-figure score that would surely take England home. The second Ashes test between Australia and England is on a knife edge after a gripping fourth day of cricket. England captain Joe Root is leading the fight back and finished on an unbeaten 67 against Australia on day 4. Pat Cummins bowled out Dorad Malan for a hard-fought 29 with a fabulous delivery late on as Australia hit back. Cummins' wicket ended a frustrating spell for Australia, but they still have plenty of work to do to seal victory. Australia captain Stephen Smith had a day to forget in the field as his side's grip on the second test loosened. England's travelling Barmy Army were in fine voice during the final session at the Adelaide Oval. The England captain will resume on the final day on 67 with night watchman Chris Woakes for company, still as underdogs, but with the fighting chance of giving the Australians an almighty scare in a test they had dominated. What a nail-biting scenario, and what a fantastic advertisement this match has been for the Ashes and a day-night test concept that has attracted more spectators to Adelaide, almost 174,000 over 4 days, since Bodyline in 1933. This, gloriously, was England's day to follow the transformation in their fortunes that came on day 3 when England rallied from the depths of 142 for 7 and Steve Smith failed to enforce the follow-on. What a mistake that will prove by the Australian captain if England can now go on to pull off the greatest run chase in the history on the final day and level this Ashes series in the most dramatic circumstances. It was not the only bad moment for Smith, who had laughed at England after the first test in Brisbane, but who will have the smile right off his face if England can confound all the odds at this magnificent stadium. The Australian captain had a nightmare in the field with the decision review system, failing to call for technology when Alistair Cook should have been out, and then wasting his 2 reviews on Root and Dorad Malan, and then added to his misery by dropping Malan on 8. Australia had begun this penultimate day 4 wickets down but 268 ahead and very much in the box seat until Jimmy Anderson carried on his magnificent bowling from the third evening. Anderson was just as potent under the bright Adelaide skies as he was under floodlights and went on to his 25th 5-wicket haul in his distinguished career, but his first in Australia. Cummins produced a fiery spell of bowling the final 30 minutes to try and hinder England's resistance. Root kept the scoreboard ticking over for England but endured a couple of nervy moments. Nathan Lyon thought he had trapped Root LBW, but the decision was overturned on an appeal by England. Root survived as DRS showed the ball would have narrowly gone over the top of the stumps at the other end. Malan had earlier endured a hostile spell of bowling from Australia for his 29. James Vince started nicely but edged to the slips off Stark and went for only 15 runs with a needless shot. Chris Woakes, not nearly as potent overseas as at home, was another England bowler to produce his best bowling of the series as he added 4 wickets of his own to send Australia crashing to 138 all out. It was a fantastic performance by England, but it still felt too little too late, and a case of a huge missed opportunity by England to get back into the biggest series of them all. That feeling was strengthened when Cook, who had that narrow LBW escape on 1, fell for the 7th time in Test cricket to Nathan Lyon, and Mark Stoneman fell softly to Mitchell Starc just before the dinner interval. James Vince became the 3rd Englishman to fall when he again brainlessly aimed an expansive drive at Starc and again found the edge to raise question marks over whether he is suited to the all-important number 3 position. Mark Stoneman helped England to a strong start in their second innings in Adelaide and attacked the Australia bowlers. Alistair Cook, the former England captain, was more tentative than Stoneman, but they put on 50 for the first wicket together. Lyon eventually made the breakthrough, trapping Cook LBW on 16 with England on 53. Mitchell Starc then dismissed Stoneman only 1 run later as England wobbled and dropped to 542. A huge moment came when Root was actually given LBW on 32 to Lyon, who is becoming the biggest threat to England in this series by a lean dar, but to England's immense relief the ball was found to be going over the stumps. But Pat Cummins struck a potentially decisive blow for Australia with just 10 minutes of the extended fourth day left when he beat Mallon for pace and bowled him. As tension built, more words were exchanged between Root and Smith, and it is very clear now that there is a lot of bad feeling between these old enemies in this series. But that just added to what was a magnificent spectacle. It is one that will reach its denouement on Wednesday in what might end up as one of the classic Test matches. And it is one in which England remain very much in contention, as long as their captain stays there. Jimmy Anderson took his first 5-wicket haul in Australia to drag England back into the match. Anderson bowled brilliantly against Australia in the first session and finished on figures of 543. Anderson gave England a scare after holding the back of his leg chasing after the catch, but he said he only grazed his hip. Anderson spilled a difficult chance to take Stark's wicket but managed to get to him out shortly after. Craig Overton took a superb catch to remove Tim Payne for 11 from Chris Woakes' bowling.